Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is the May 2022 Mac Voices update, or it may be the first May 2022 Mac Voices update. I'm not quite sure yet. I'm doing this a little bit early, and it seems like I just did one, but I really did one at the very beginning of May because the April update was late. But I wanted to get this one in simply because we just wrapped up all of the NAB interviews. I believe it was a total of 18 in all. Had a great time at NAB and talked to a lot of really interesting people. I hope you've had a chance to look at least some of those interviews. Not everyone is probably going to apply to you. I get that. But that's why I like to go to NAB and CES and talk to people that maybe just aren't exactly in our wheelhouse, because sooner or later, everything does seem to circle back to what you do with your technology, especially your Apple technology. And there are a lot of opportunities and capabilities that are always being introduced that circle down to your level, whatever level that happens to be. So please check those out. Because, though, we were publishing all those shows, it means that our attention to Mac Voices Live, getting those shows into the feeds has wavered a bit. And that's what we're going to be focusing on catching up. Now, as you probably know, I tend to try to cut a Mac Voices Live show up into 3 pieces. That makes it a little easier to get through and doesn't bog down your podcast player as much. But in order to play catch up, we're going to have to extend that. So I've got to go back and listen to those shows, edit those shows, of course. And I may be releasing most of them in 2 pieces, maybe break some up in 3, depending on how long they go or what the topics are. So that's what you can expect to see on Mac Voices in the next few weeks, especially as we catch up. But I will also be hopefully interspersing some of our regular interviews with guests. And I also have in mind something I've been thinking about for a while, and I think I finally figured out a format that I want to bring to Mac Voices. So we'll see how that goes. That's an ambitious statement to make, given the scheduling of everything, but we'll see what happens. So with that, I wanted to make sure you knew what the practices were going to be. I also wanted to point out that at the risk of self-promotion, that I do regular appearances on a lot of other shows. And so I keep a list of those running on the site, in the sidebar of the Mac Voices site, but also over on the Mac Voices blog at MacVoicesBlog.com. That site, I keep playing with that site, trying to figure out what it's going to be. Right now, it's just become an archive of some of those other appearances. Because every time I come up with an idea for an article, it's like, yeah, well, that would make a good Mac Voices show too. So it ends up being in the feeds as opposed to on the blog site. But anyway, so if you want to see where else and what else I do, Mac Voices blog is MacVoicesBlog.com is the place you want to go. So I also want to definitely thank our sponsors, our Patreon sponsors. Along with our regular sponsors, they're the reason that I can make trips to things like NAB, bring some of that back to you so that you don't have to go, or that you get some exposure to things that maybe you otherwise wouldn't. It is the reason we're still here. So thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. So let's go down the list of Patreon supporters this month. First of all, at Platinum, we had RV. At Gold, we have Web B, David G, and Frank P. At Silver, we have Baz, Craig A, Tim G, Michael D, Bruce E, Chuck P, Hal P, and Daniel S. And at Bronze, we had Max C, Tom C, Brian F, Cletus H, Craig H, Greg H, Clinton M, John M, and Prop P. As always, I can't thank you enough for supporting Mac Voices through Patreon. If you'd like to support Mac Voices through Patreon, all you have to do is contribute at any level. And not only do you get your name read during these updates, you also get your name at the end of the credits of each show for that month. You also get access to the Mac Voices Slack and Mac Voices After Dark, which is the recordings of our pre-show and post-show Mac Voices Live shows. And there are always some crazy, interesting things going on there. Sometimes they're on topic and sometimes they're way off, but they're always fun. That's a very brief Mac Voices update for May. There may be another one if I have more that I specifically want to tell you this month. Otherwise, I will see you back in the feed soon. As always, thanks for watching.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.